you have any questions, ask them. Write down what you need to write down in your notes. If you don't need to write anything down, that's fine. I would take notes right on your container design sheet if you have any questions as to what all these numbers are. That looks like a lot of gibberish, but we'll understand what they all are in just a minute. I'm going to start with my sketch on this plane, and I want to start with my stock, like I said before. So let's go to the rectangle, and let's make our rectangle 3 inches by 3 inches, because that's the size of our stock. All right? I'm going to give you a piece of material 3 inches by 3 inches. Now, the only problem with that is the stock I'm going to give you was cut on a table saw by some kid in the production class. All right? Now, there's a pretty good chance that it's not going to be exactly 3 inches. Why? Just because a table saw isn't really accurate, that accurate. So depending on the day and the person running the machine, it might not be exactly 3 by 3. All right? But we're going to make our stock 3 by 3. We're going to finish our sketch, and we're going to extrude it into the screen. Why would I extrude it into the screen? We'll talk about that in a minute. Remind me, okay? And I'm going to make it 2 inches thick because that's the size stock that you're going to get. We're going to say, okay, there you go. That's your piece of material that I'm going to hand you next class. You have to cut your container out of this piece of material. So looking at all those dimensions, I'm going to start with the bottom of my container, because the way I make them, I make a lip on the bottom, and then the lid fits over the lip, okay? So I'm going to start a sketch on that face. And I'm going to make my container a polygon, and I'm going to make it 6-sided, and I'm going to put it on this face. I want to center it. I want to make sure it's centered. How could I make sure it's centered? Any ideas? I could dimension it. Yep, I could dimension it right in the center. Let's do this. I'm going to choose construction line tool. Everybody knows where that is? So I'm going to choose a construction line tool. And I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner. And yeah, so now I can pick a center point. Very good. So I can pick a center point. So now I'm going to choose my polygon. It's 6-sided. Watch what I can, oh look, snap. It snaps right there. And I made it a construction line so that when I go to select geometry, it won't select construction lines. That's why I didn't do that just to show you a new tool. I did that because I don't want to ever select that ever again. Because if I draw that like that, and I went to extrude this, and it saw that line also, then I'd have to click here in this half and click here in this half, and I don't want to do that. What just happened to my polygon? Oh, it became construction line. So let's undo, uncheck construction lines now, do our polygon now, go to our midpoint, and I'm going to draw my polygon in there like so. All right? So there we go. There's my polygon. I want to straighten it out. How could I straighten it out inside that so that this line and this line are even? Oh, good. I'll use the parallel constraint. Let's make that parallel to this. Boom. Oops. That wasn't supposed to happen. Let's do parallel this to that. What else can I do? What happened? How do I move that back? Project geometry. If I go to my home view, I just selected that rectangle and brought it up to my sketch. Okay? So that rectangle is there. So now when I choose my line and I make it a construction line, it snaps onto those points. All right? We're good with that? There's my construction line. Turn my construction lines off, choose my polygon tool. Now let's try it. Let's go like that, let's go like that. There's my polygon. I can make it straight by saying let's rotate that to be perpendicular to that. You see how it stayed that time? There we go. So now we've got our polygon. Let's dimension it because I want my polygon to be what's less than 3? 2.75 is less than 3 maybe? Because our stock is 3. Oh, we forgot about those points, didn't we? So I'm going to go pick, let's say 2.5. There we go. You see how all my points lie inside of my stock? What would happen if I made my container exactly 3 inches big? And then the piece of stock you got was 2.9 inches. Some corners, good. Some corners would be cut off. When you went to machine it, you want the tool to touch every side of your container. Otherwise, you might get a flat spot on your container. Finish our sketch, and now I can extrude. Now, because I projected that geometry, I can select just that outside edge. And I can say project a cut. But how deep can I go? Take a look at your constraints. How thick does that clamping boss have to be in the middle? Take a look. It says right here. What's that clamping boss have to be? 1/2 inch. So what could I get away with the top or with the bottom? I'm going to pick 0.5 for now. Okay? I'm going to make my bottom that thick. There it is. You good with that? Okay, so that's kind of thin for a bottom, you think? So in your design, you'd want that thicker. How do I make that bigger then? If I right-click on that extrusion and say edit the feature, I can go change the depth of that feature in 2 different places. Let's make it 0.75. All right, there we go. That's a little better, right? Let's do that. So there's my point. I've got 0.75. I'm going to put a new sketch on here, and now I'm going to make the lip. So I'm going to suggest you start from the outside and work your way in. Let's do the outside, then the lip, and then the guts, the inside of the box. All right? First thing, project this geometry to your sketch, because Inventor doesn't do that automatically anymore. I'll show you how to make that default later. So now that that is there, watch what I can do. This is awesome. You'll love this. I just offset everything. If you leave everything square, look, I can do this, right? And I'm going to dimension that lip to be, what's the smallest that can be according to the rules? See if you can find that dimension on the rules list. What quarter thickness is 1/4 inch, but that lip then can be what? 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. Very good. I'm going to make that 0.125. So there we go. If it gets much thinner than that, things start to break in the machine when it gets clamped. So we'll make that 0.125. Finish my 2D sketch. Now watch what I do. Extrude, a cut, pick that out. Oh, you see how that made the lip? Now I'm going to cut out the lip. 0.5 is too deep. What's the minimum that has to be? 0.25. Very good. So we're going to make that 0.25. There's 0.25. Follow me? Awesome. Just put another sketch right there. And I'm going to say project geometry, project that geometry to the top, offset it this way again. And what's the minimum dimension that this has to be to give me my thickness of, minimum thickness of 1/4 inch? Could I make it that small? Could I make my box that small in the middle? Is that legal? Yes, it's legal according to those directions. What's the minimum though? What's the minimum? .125. Yeah, 0.125. So that's 0.125. Now what I can do is I can say, finish my sketch, extrude, a cut. How deep? How deep can I go? How thick does the bottom have to be? What's the floor thickness of my container have to be? 0.25. So if that has to be 0.25, it's 0.75. What can it be? 0.5. So let's make it 0.5. All right, follow the rules. There we go. Bottom of my container done. If I'd shut up and didn't talk, I could have had that done in probably 3 to 5 minutes, right? Not hard. And it fits all the constraints. I make sure it fits the rules. There's only one other thing that I want to do. Here's my lip, and that's going to fit inside the top, right? So can I machine corners, inside corners like that, sharp on the inside of my lid? No, I can't. So what I need to do is I need to put a fillet on there. Good. Let's do the fillets now, and then we'll make our lid. What tool do you want to use to machine this container? I'll tell you what. The person who machines this in the least time is going to get a prize, because we only have till Christmas to make all these parts. So how are you going to minimize machine time? Okay, the bigger the tool, the faster it will go, because we can't change speeds and feeds. That's dangerous. So let's just use a bigger tool. But if we use a 1/2-inch tool, it'll go really fast. But then what would the radius on this edge have to be? It'd have to be 1/4 inch. Good, because 1/4 inch is half. So that would have to be a 1/4 inch radius, right? That's a lot. Why don't we try a 3/8 inch end mill? Because that's like a happy medium. So what is the radius of a 3/8 inch end mill? See, we're working on the top. We have to know that to know this. What's the radius of a 3/8 inch end mill? What's half of 3/8, people? So let's do a fillet right here. What's that fillet have to be? 3/16 of an inch. That's awesome. So watch. I'm going to go through and I'm going to make all my radii 3/16. And I'm going to apply it. So now my end mill could come around there, my 3/8 end mill. Could I do that with a 1/2-inch end mill? Yes, I can. On the outside corners, I can. Inside corners, I can't, right? But I'm trying to design it with a single tool, right? So we say, okay, done. We're done with this side. File. We're ready to go with the other side now. Let's rotate this around and work on the other side by putting a sketch. Now I'm going to make my lid. So my lid's going to go on here. Watch what I'm going to do first. This is so cool. Just remember this, please. Project your geometry. I want to project that outside edge. And I also want to project this edge. So I just projected this edge right here, right? Why'd I do that? Because I don't want to have to measure again. If I make this side different than the other side, that's going to mess things up, right? Yeah, huge. So let's do this. So I've done that, finished my 2D sketch. No dimensions needed because it's getting all the dimensions from the other side. I can just say extrude that, make it a cut, and let's do it 0.7. I'm going to make the top the same size as my bottom. Do I have to do that? No. I'm going to say, okay, there we go. Look at that. Wasn't that easy? This is even better. What if we decide, what if Mr. Hurd changes, said, nope, we're not going to use this for earbuds. I want you to make a ring box. Oh, it's too big. Yep, it is too big. But watch what you can do. What if you went to this extrusion right there and you said, that sketch, and you said, edit that sketch, and you said, for this sketch, instead of making that 2.5, let's make that 1. What'd it do? Oh, because I used the geometry from the other side, everything changes with it. It's called being parametric, right? Everything's parametric now. That's a humongous word. That's word of the day. Parametric is word of the day. So I'm going to go edit my sketch again. I'm going to make that back to 2.5 is what I had it. Boom, there it goes. Awesome. So what do I have to do in my lid now? How would you do it? What do you think one of the easiest ways to do that would be? Another, not a bandsaw, not yet. Let's do another project geometry. Let's project that geometry. And let's offset it to the inside. Right? We could do that. But now, once again, it's going to be the right size because I'm going to dimension it. But wouldn't it be better to just do this? Say project geometry, and while we're at it, project our lip over onto our lid. Like that. Look at that. Now, what I have to do, now this is what this person, Timmy, when he made his box, he did not put the 2/1000ths tolerance in there. Take a look. You see right there where it says the tolerance has to be 2/1000ths of an inch? Lip to lid clearance, 2/1000ths of an inch. I have to make the lid 2/1000ths of an inch bigger than my lip or it won't fit. So here's how I do it. Follow me on this. I am going to do an offset on this outside edge. See the one with the radius? I'm going to go out. Right? I'm going to dimension that to be what? 2/1000ths, 0.002. Now, we're going to get tricky. I'm going to show you a trick. Here's what happens. If I went right now and I said finish sketch and extrude a cut, I would have to select this inside polygon. I would have to select this polygon, and I would have to zoom in and very carefully select that polygon too to cut it all out. So what I can do is I can use my construction line tool and make that line, oops, I have to get out of my dimension tool, make my construction line tool and that line a construction line. Now we've got it. You see that? So when I say finish my sketch and I want to 3D model it and extrude, when I pick that, you see how it picks all three? No matter where I pick, it picks all three. I zoom out. How deep can I go with that? Well, according to the directions, what does my floor thickness have to be? 0.25. I can be minimum 0.25, right? But if I want more space, I'm going to make it 0.5. Because I need that, see that floor in there? I need that floor to be thick because we're going to do something on the other side of it, right? So I'm going to extrude that. And what's the minimum depth? It's not 0.25. What's the minimum depth? Nope. The minimum depth for clearance is what? 0.26. What if when I make my lip, my part is crooked in my machine by a little bit. When I make that lip, one side of my lip is bigger than 0.25. Then my top will never fit on my lip, right? So if I leave, it'll make it at least 0.26. It'll always fit. We say okay. And now we're guaranteed that our lip and our lid will fit. Do you know how to test it in Inventor? If you go to the tools and pick distance, now if I pick the distance from there to there on my lid, it's 2.254. And then if I rotate it over here and I pick the distance of there to there, it's 2.25. What's the difference? That's my tolerance. All right? Any questions? That's how you make a container really quickly. And if I wasn't talking, I could have done that really, really quickly.